Deep in the quiet woods of western New York sits an old white farmhouse. To some, it looks like nothing more than a rundown country home, but to others, it is one of the darkest places in America. A place where priests performed exorcisms, where families fled in terror, and where investigators claim they came face to face with something truly inhuman. This is the story of the Hinsdale House, one of the most terrifying hauntings in American history. The Hinsdale House, also known as the Dandy House, sits tucked away in the hills of Hinsdale, New York. Surrounded by thick forests and mountains, the land itself feels isolated, cut off from the outside world. The house dates back to the 19th century, and while its early history was quiet, whispers of tragedy have long surrounded it. Locals speak of Native American burial grounds in the area, of strange rituals held in the woods, and of deaths tied to the property. But it wasn't until the 1970s that the Hinsdale House became infamous. That's when the Dandy family moved in. Clara and Phil Dandy thought they had found their dream home. They moved into the farmhouse with their 4 children in the early 1970s, eager for a fresh start. But soon after unpacking, things began to go terribly wrong. At first, it was small disturbances, lights flickering on and off, strange knocking sounds in the walls, feelings of being watched, even when no one was there. Then, the activity escalated. The children reported seeing shadowy figures in the hallways. Doors would slam shut on their own. Voices whispered from empty rooms. The family's phone would ring at odd hours with no one on the line. But the most terrifying events were yet to come. One night, Clara Dandy claimed she saw a group of ghostly figures outside the house. A family standing silently in the yard, staring up at the farmhouse. When she rushed outside, the figures vanished into the night. On another occasion, Phil awoke to find a strange man standing at the foot of his bed. But when he reached for the intruder, the man dissolved into nothing. The Dandy children were often targeted. They reported being scratched, pushed, and even choked by unseen hands. At times, the entire family would hear invisible voices singing inside the house, chanting in a language none of them understood. The haunting grew so violent that the family called in priests to perform a blessing. In desperation, the Dandys reached out to the local Catholic church. Father Alphonsus, a Franciscan priest, agreed to investigate. When he entered the Hinsdale house, he immediately felt something oppressive. According to reports, he described the atmosphere as heavy and evil. He performed an exorcism and blessing on the home, sprinkling holy water and commanding the spirits to leave. For a time, the house seemed quiet. The Dandys felt a brief moment of peace, but it didn't last. Within weeks, the disturbances returned, stronger than before. Objects flew across rooms. The family heard animal-like growls echoing through the halls, and the children were once again attacked in their sleep. Father Alphonsus returned, this time bringing additional priests. Together, they performed a full exorcism on the property. Witnesses claimed the priests felt resistance, as though something unseen was fighting back. But even after the rituals, the darkness remained. The exorcism had failed. Locals began to speculate that the evil at Hinsdale House wasn't tied to the building itself, but to the land. Some claim the property sits on an ancient Native American execution ground, where prisoners were tortured and killed. Others whisper of occult rituals performed in the surrounding woods, summoning forces that still linger today. Hunters and hikers in the area have reported seeing hooded figures performing ceremonies deep in the forest, sometimes carrying torches or chanting. It is said that when you enter the woods behind the Hinsdale House, you can hear drums beating, even when no one is there. The Dandy family eventually fled the Hinsdale House, unable to endure the torment any longer. They left most of their belongings behind, never to return. But the story didn't end there. In the years that followed, multiple families attempted to live in the house. None stayed long. Each reported the same terrifying experiences: disembodied voices calling their names, apparitions of strange unknown people, violent poltergeist activity. In one case, a new owner was nearly driven to suicide, claiming the house itself was manipulating his thoughts. By the early 2000s, the Hinsdale House was abandoned. Its paint peeled, its windows shattered, but the darkness remained. Paranormal investigators began to take an interest. The house was featured on Paranormal Lockdown, where investigators Nick Groff and Katrina Weidman spent 72 hours inside. They reported overwhelming dread, strange voices, and shadow figures caught on camera. Visitors to the house today still report intense paranormal activity, electronic devices malfunctioning, cold spots in every room, doors opening and closing by themselves, the sound of a woman screaming in the night. Some say the spirits inside the Hinsdale House are not just ghosts, they are demons. Perhaps the most chilling reports are of full apparitions. Guests have described seeing a woman in white wandering the upstairs hallway. Others see a group of shadow figures standing together in the living room, silent and watching. One investigator claimed he saw a noose dangling from the rafters, only for it to vanish when he tried to take a photo. Another reported that he was nearly suffocated by an unseen force, gasping for breath until he staggered outside. Even skeptics leave the Hinsdale House shaken. The Hinsdale House is different from most hauntings. It doesn't just have one ghost or one tragic story. Instead, it is a place of layers of evil. Ancient land, possibly cursed by violence. A family driven out by torment. Failed exorcisms by multiple priests. Endless reports of apparitions and attacks. It is a perfect storm of the paranormal. A house where darkness has rooted itself so deeply, no one can tear it out. The Hinsdale House remains one of America's most haunted homes. A place where priests could not cast out the darkness, where families could not find peace, and where investigators still hear the screams of the past. Some believe it is cursed ground. Others believe it is a doorway, a thin place where the living and the dead collide. Whatever the truth may be, one thing is certain: the Hinsdale House never lets go. If this haunting gave you chills, don't forget to hit that like button. It really helps the channel grow. Subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss another terrifying true story. And if you're brave enough, share this video with a friend and see if they can handle the Hinsdale House. Do you think you could spend a night there? Drop a comment. Let us know if you'd be brave enough. Until next time, sleep well.